The President's Palace, Executive Mansion, and President's House, among other names, have all been used to refer to the White House throughout history. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has remained one of the most exclusive and remarkable buildings in the world since it was built more than 220 years ago. The 10 wackiest facts about the White House are revealed at the very end of the video. The White House's location and final design were both chosen by our nation's first president and founding father in 1791. A group of Freemasons set the cornerstone and started building on October 13, 1792. Washington's presidency ended in 1797, and he passed away in 1799, therefore he never got the chance to reside in the presidential palace. The first couple to dwell in the unfinished mansion was President John Adams and his wife Abigail, who did so in 1800. There are 18 acres dedicated to the structure and its surroundings. The White Residence was the largest residence in the nation until after the American Civil War, while being quite small in comparison to today's vast estates. It contains 6 stories, 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms, 412 doors, 147 windows, 28 fireplaces, 8 stairs, and 3 lifts. It is 168 feet long by 85 feet broad, with a height of 70 feet on the south side and 60 feet 4 inches on the north. 18 acres are taken up by the structure and its surroundings. In 1814, British troops raided the White House during the War of 1812 and set it ablaze in retribution for American troops who were setting buildings on fire in York, Ontario. The building's interior and roof were totally damaged by the fire. James Hoban, the original architect, was requested to return by President James Madison, who also demanded that rebuilding begin right away. Although James Monroe, the newly elected president, was allowed to relocate into the White House in 1817, Madison and his wife were never able to return. Even though it has served as the presidential house of the United States since 1800, it wasn't until 1901 that President Theodore Roosevelt adopted the term White House on official correspondence. It was once known as the President's House or the President's Mansion. Although historians claim that this tale is mostly untrue, other hypotheses assert that the term was created after the fire of 1814, when the smoke-stained walls were washed over with white paint. During Woodrow Wilson's administration, beginning on January 10, 1917, a group of women known as the Silent Sentinels started protesting in front of the White House's gates. The National Women's Party was represented by the organization, which stood their ground until women were granted the right to vote. For 2.5 years, they spent 6 days a week camping out in front of the White House. They endured constant bullying, abuse, and even beatings at that period, but they persisted until the 19th Amendment was enacted on June 4, 1919, granting women the right to vote for the first time. Numerous presidents, first ladies, employees, and visitors have allegedly witnessed spirits hiding in the old building's chambers. First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln informed friends that she had heard an irate and defeated Andrew Jackson stomping and cursing throughout the building's numerous rooms, while the spirit of Abigail Adams has been spotted moving towards the East Room, where she used to hang her clothes. Of course, President Abraham Lincoln is the most famous ghost. Sightings have been reported by the First Ladies of the Coolidge, Johnson, and Roosevelt administrations. Even British Prime Minister Winston Churchill claimed to have seen Lincoln's ghost while staying at the White House during World War II. The White House's missing original cornerstone is one of the most prominent mysteries in the building's history. The cornerstone and its etched brass plate vanished in 1792 within 24 hours after it was set. Since then, nobody has seen it. The edifice was built by Freemasons, who denied seizing it, and several presidents, including Roosevelt and Truman, have made fruitless attempts to find it. Although it has never been discovered, one hypothesis holds that the cornerstone is concealed between two stone walls in the Rose Garden. The White House requires constant upkeep to keep it looking well, much like any other historic building. The White House, however, differs from typical homes in that it needs 570 gallons of white paint to cover the facade, 300 of which are required just for the house itself. The external walls of the White House were stripped of more than 30 coats of paint in 1992 during renovations. According to reports, painting now happens once a year, with touch-ups happening all year round. A large hole in the earth was being dug by construction workers in front of the West Wing in 2010, and the project was practically hidden in secrecy by a towering green construction fence. When the fencing was removed and the ground was repaved 2 years later, it seemed as though nothing had happened. The official explanation is that work was being done to replace the West Wing's deteriorating utilities, but the numerous truckloads of heavy-duty concrete and beams aroused suspicion among conspiracy theorists and interested citizens alike. Was it a secret underground command center, one that had first been proposed more than 50 years ago? The president-elect is left to fill the hole when a former president vacates the White House and takes his staff with him. Not to include the individuals who work for the White House part-time or who are hired by the executive branch but have offices elsewhere, filling 3,300 full-time roles is no simple undertaking. More than 500 individuals work for the White House office alone, 100 for the Vice President's office, 1,300 for the military office, and 500 for the Office of Management and Budget. The protection detail for the President and Vice President also includes roughly 200 staff members and more than 500 Secret Service personnel. What was the strangest fact you learned about the White House that caught you off guard? Please share your thoughts on this subject in the comments section. Goodbye.